Ethiopia.
This is King Solomon gave for Minilik for his son to Ethiopia.
So the beginning of the story is in the manuscript. But what about the ending? If the ark really came to Ethiopia, then surely this ancient place must hold the secret of where. And just as this monastery houses Ethiopia's written history, I'll bet the monks here know its oral traditions too.
So, Ms. Ghana, can you ask him, where can I go from here to find out where the ark may have gone?
Maybe the monks know the next stop on the ark's journey.
It's good, but I recommend if you're going to study Tana Cherkos.
Tana Kirkos.
Tana Kirkos.
The monks tell us the ark was taken to Tana Kirkos, a holy island to the southwest of here. In fact, they say the ark was kept there for centuries after it arrived in Ethiopia. That's exactly what we need to know. And it's where we're going next. But there's trouble on the horizon. Remember, this is the rainy season.
So you see, we've got the storm coming in behind us. So we got to make a mad dash back down the leather rope so we can get down safely across the river before it floods and then over to Tana Kirkos. Slow going up, real quick. Going down.
But the climb is dangerous, and we can only go so fast. We're racing against time. With each passing second, the leather rope and the cliff face get slicker and more treacherous. Back in the vehicle, but we're still in trouble. The stream bed we crossed easily before is now a raging river. A flash flood like this can be lethal.
We have to wait until the river is less water.
How long do you think we'll be here?
Maybe we stay the whole night here.
It's getting dark, and now Miss Ghana is worried about the bandits. We search for any kind of crossing point, but even with Miss Ghana's knowledge of the terrain, we can't find one. The river is rising, the sun is setting, and now the bandits will be coming out. I'm on the trail of one of the world's greatest religious objects, the lost Ark of the Covenant. My search has taken me from the Middle East, where the Bible says the Ark first appeared, to the East African nation of Ethiopia. Some learned Ethiopian monks told me about Lake Tana, where they believe the Ark was kept for centuries. But we've been stopped by a flash flood. With night and the very real threat of bandits now upon us, Miss Ghana and I decide to risk driving across the flooded river, hopefully without stalling or floating away. We make it. Our support vehicle goes next, driving full speed over the unseen rocks.
Do not try that at home.
With dawn's arrival, we continue the journey. Our goal? Lake Tana, possible resting place of the Ark. Reaching the shores of the lake, I learn more about this area's ancient ties to the Middle East. The lake and its island monasteries have long drawn traders and pilgrims. We're loading up the boat to travel to a small island in the lake called Tana Kirkos. Ethiopians claim the Ark was brought there from Jerusalem, and that they've got the archaeological evidence to prove it. We'll use these small reed boats called takwas once we get closer to the island. I've asked explorer Bob Cornuke to join me on my quest for the Ark.
Bob?
Josh.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So this is the boat that gets us where we need to be, huh?
Yeah, we're going to go about 3 hours across the lake, just north of here, and it's a holy island called Tana Kirkos Island, and they say they've had the Ark there for 800 years at one time, and so we're going to get to asking some questions about that.
Bob's the president of the Bible Archaeology Search and Exploration Institute. He's been on the trail of the lost Ark for almost a decade. I share what I've discovered with Bob. I tell him about Menelik, the son of the Hebrew king Solomon and the Ethiopian Queen of Sheba, who may have brought the Ark to Ethiopia. Bob tells me his research shows that eventually the Levites brought the Ark to Tanakirkos, the island we're now heading for. He says Tanakirkos has been a spiritual refuge since long before Christianity was established in Ethiopia. Maybe because of the Ark's presence there.
One of the reasons the Ark may have been brought here is that the island is a natural fortress surrounded by a lake. To get a better sense, Bob and I are going to go exploring, and we're going to use tonquas, the traditional reed raft.
Tonquas resemble the papyrus boats of ancient Egypt. If the Levite priests ever did come here with the Ark, this is probably how they'd have traveled. But you have to watch out for the hippos lurking beneath the water. They're fiercely territorial animals and can easily snap these tonquas in half.
This would be the perfect place to protect the Ark. You could see any invaders coming from any direction, and it's a perfect place to defend it.
There's really no place for them to scale up over here. Like, there's only a few access points.
It's a tough place to get up, and that's probably why they chose it here.
That's beautiful.
It's a beautiful island, very mysterious.
You said that the Ark of the Covenant was actually somewhere right up on those cliffs?
Right up there.
Here in Climb Up?
Those rocks mark the very spot where the Ark was said to rest, and Bob's going to take me up there. It's a good thing Bob is familiar with the island. The access point he takes me to is very well hidden. Few people come all the way out to the island these days, but Bob has visited many times in his own search for the Ark. As a result, Bob has developed a long and trusting relationship with the priests here, whose order claims to have been on this island for over 2,000 years, around the time they say the Ark arrived. They're the protectors of this island's secrets, and they've been guarding these trails for centuries. As we make our way across the island monastery, it's clear the monks are very receptive to Bob's being here. Under the monks' supervision, Bob and I climb toward the summit we saw from the lake.
Come back this way.
1 second.
We meet with the Abba, or head priest of the monastery. After gaining his blessing, we are finally allowed to approach the very place they say the Ark rested.
They consider this to be a holy lake, and on this holy lake, this is the most holy island. And on that holy island, this is the most holy spot. So in all of Ethiopia, you come down to this is the most holy spot. This is where they claim the Ark sat, actually right here in a tent. I couldn't see how a tent could stay here on stone and not be blown off, but then I went over and I found years ago, and this hole, this is a socket hole that's perfectly round. It's hand-carved, perfectly round socket hole. And if you look at these socket holes over here, we think it could be a socket hole for one of the tent posts to keep it from blowing off the cliff here when it was a tabernacle. And those other socket here to get a blessing.
And Bob found 3 other socket holes, enough to secure the tent. But there was something even more amazing. The placement of the socket holes and the distance between them meant the tent matched the orientation and size of the Israelite tabernacle's innermost shrine, about 15 feet by 15 feet.
Orientation, the exact size. It's really intriguing that we have all this evidence that matches perfectly with what the Bible has to say, and also the exact size.
The layout of this area also matches the inner shrine of Solomon's Jerusalem temple.
Yeah, I'll follow you.
Okay. Bob says he has something else to show me that's even more compelling.